Okay, I'm with Nicholas. He's going to introduce himself. We'll give you 30 seconds on his poster.
Hello, my name is Nicholas Zimnisha. I'm from Indiana, Pennsylvania, and I am doing research into renewable energy adoption and natural disasters. I wanted to test a hypothesis that was that the higher frequency of natural disasters that a state has, the more likely they are to adopt renewable energy. And I found a positive, significant relationship that would say that a state's experience with major natural disasters can be used to predict how much renewable energy capacity they have.
He's going to give us his 30-second elevator speech.
Let me know when it's there.
Okay, I'll try.
Hi, this is Mansur from Fitchburg State University. So I was doing the comparison of cadmium sulfide versus indium sulfide. Both of them are buffer layers, and they are used in solar cells. Cadmium sulfide is more efficient versus indium sulfide. Cadmium sulfide is a lot more cheaper as well versus indium sulfide. But in America, there's a lot of manufacturing being done using cadmium sulfide. Let's take a look at the First Solar. They do a lot of cadmium telluride and a lot of cadmium sulfide. The problem with cadmium is one of the most toxic elements on this planet. So there's a lot of recycling cost, disposal cost, environmental cost, and human health risk related factors. So we wanted to take all those factors into account, and we came up with this graph, and we see indium sulfide in a longer run is going to be a more economical, viable option versus cadmium sulfide. So including all the overall cost, the indium sulfide is going to cost us like $600 million in external cost, whereas for the cadmium sulfide, it's going to be $1.6 trillion, sorry. So looking at the longer run, indium sulfide might be a lot more viable option.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
My name is David Comas. I work at the Maryland Energy Administration. As a way to go help the state meet its renewable portfolio standard, the Maryland Public School Construction Program asked the Maryland Energy Administration to look at 140 schools within elementary to high school within the state of Maryland to determine whether solar energy would be viable on the rooftops, but only of those areas that had the roof replaced in the last 3 years, which means you can't take a solution that looks at the entire roof. When we did that, you have to go back to some basics, because one of the other requirements was that we weren't allowed to go put solar cells in any area where there would be shadowing anytime between 9 o'clock in the morning and 3 o'clock in the afternoon, time of peak sun, which meant that we needed to go take a look on the longest day of the year, the shortest day of the year, December 21st, and that's what Lime looked. So in any case, you can take a look at Google Earth and take a look at shadows. Since you know the location, you can go to the sun path that you can get from the University of Oregon very easily, measure the angle, find out where the sun was, you get the elevation angle. It's very easy to determine from the height of the object is equal to the shadow length times the tangent. Just do the numbers, you find out how large each of the obstructions on the roof are. Then you go on back and you plot those areas where roof had been replaced, and you do keep out zones around all the obstacles. You run it through a program that determines how many solar cells you can put given the offsets. You run it through PV watts, and you get numbers. So out of the 140 schools, we found 103 schools that were viable. And then in Maryland, there is an aggregate net metering program. And since in Maryland, each school district constitutes a county. So they're all local, and you can do aggregate net metering on local. We took a look and said, is there a power purchase agreement in their offing? We took a look, and 497 kilowatts seemed to be the minimum size for a power purchase agreement. And so we reported to each of the school districts how much solar they could have and whether they should be looking at power purchase agreement. Now, of course, the next step is go find a certified solar installer to come out and do the actual feasibility study. But we were just doing a pre-screening. Thank you.
I'm an architect, and very happy to be able to share with you my experience over the last 33 years in converting my as a solar home into a net zero energy home that also powers my electric car. So we finally achieved that in 2016. So basically we started in 1984. The house was set up a two-story sun space and partially earth sheltered, inspired by Doug Malcolm, his solar home that I visited in New Mexico. And I was always astounded at how well it works. You know, even passive solar in the wintertime is very effective. Then over time, we decided to put in a solar hot water system. The prices started to come down, and the business got a little bit better in New Jersey. And that worked very well, with no maintenance whatsoever in the last over 15 years. It works great. And then as the price came down on solar PV, which I never envisioned putting solar PV, all my roofs went in the opposite direction because I was trying to divert the northwest winds over the roof of the house so the house maximizes the southern face. But we figured out some ways to install PV. So in 2008, we put in a 5 kilowatt system, which had a central inverter. And then in 2015, we put in a 4 kilowatt system with micro inverters, which is much more efficient. And the aggregate of that, plus changing over all of our heating systems to very high efficiency, split system heat pumps, some of which work now to minus 15 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'm always amazed at how well they work. So the whole thing, we plotted it out for 2016, and we did got to net zero. We had surplus to use for our electric car. So we started out with the Nissan Leaf, which only had 90 miles range. But now we switched over to the Chevy Bolt with 240 miles range. So we use that to drive everywhere. So now we need more solar power to power that. So the takeaways and lessons we've learned, along the way we used some energy modeling techniques, which I found the techniques that we used, especially at the beginning, were very imperfect, but they gave us a guide. It was a good way to focus our attention on what we had to do and to give us a guide on what to continue with. So we used Energy 10 software and NRE VUP software, so each one gets more and more easy to use. So the lessons we learned is that the energy modeling software is okay, but it's not an exact science. Earth sheltering and sun space, two-story sun space, is very effective, more than I expected. The solar hot water system is an easy add-on for people, and now you can have a backup heat with a heat pump to make it even more efficient. And decentralized heating system is definitely the way to go. Each room has its own mini ductless split system, so that we've actually reduced the energy use tremendously. So therefore, the 9 kilowatt system takes care of it. It's a 3,200 square foot house. And if you're designing a new house or a new building, I would suggest having oversizing photovoltaic, because everybody's going to be having at least one electric car. I predict everybody will be having 2 electric cars. So you're going to have to power that. We power it in our garage with 240 volt chargers. So basically, it's good to oversize. So I just want to also say that I'm inspired by everybody here, and especially I went to the decathlon at the beginning, and seeing all the young people there. They've digested all this information. It took me 33 years to get here. They're starting out at that point, and I can see the future is very bright.
It's real short. You have to see this poster as you're leaving, so you can't avoid it. But basically, this is a summary of an economic analysis and pricing approach that we developed as part of a program that I'm working on through Sunshot, called Community Solar Value Project. And basically what it is it started with an ACES paper that I did last year, which was an alternative to the typical VOS analytic process in order to speed up and streamline the decision process within a utility in order to basically get to price. Get at price, we call it the gap analysis. And basically what it is to begin with your goal in mind and work backwards. Find enough value without bringing in lots and lots of spreadsheets, and focus the discussion within the utility and with the stakeholders. It tends to be a lot less contentious, and we've run simulations with 3 different utilities around the country, which we then turned into generic scenarios.
Okay, this is William Young. Bill Young,
Okay, I'm Bill Young, and this is the solar powering special medical needs. When you get this old, you have problems like that. And so this is a CPAP machine, and for those who know what CPAP is where you have trouble sleeping. You wake up either from a physical problem or a mental problem that causes you to stop breathing. It can be life-threatening. And so they have some portable ones that have battery packs, like for travel, but they only do like 4 to 6 or 10 hours. They don't like do like for a disaster where you're out like for a week. So you need to be able to charge them. There's a CPAP company that's buying solar panels and plugging it into their charger for their battery, that the packs that have batteries on them. So being a solar person, I have a solar power house, solar power equipment. So I don't worry about that, but I think there's a lot of people I talk to who have this problem that I tell them this is what you should do. And, you don't have to worry about not having electricity. So we all know what solar will do for you, so I don't think I have to say anymore.
I'm an engineer at NREL, and my poster summarizes the results of 3 studies looking at the economic and resiliency benefits of behind-the-meter PV and storage. These were all done using an optimization and integration model that was developed in NREL called REOPT that looks at the optimal combination and sizes of renewable energy and storage technologies along with conventional technologies as well as associated dispatch energy. We recently launched a public version of this tool that's free, available on our website that allows building owners or users to evaluate the benefits of behind-the-meter solar and storage. So I have some information about that here if you want to check it out.
Simpkins from UGrid Analytics. UGrid Analytics is committed to the proliferation of solar plus storage and microgrids in the commercial and industrial market. We do that through financial feasibility analysis. Now, typically in the design phase, revenue stacking with pure solar alone is usually thought to be 0, particularly for demand charge reduction. On the poster I have today, we did the design analysis for the largest commercial solar installation on Maui at the Hyatt Regency. And we've also done the auditing for the first year of operation. And we're able to show not a 0 peak demand reduction, but a 15% peak demand reduction with pure solar, which is not 0. This is commensurate with other projects being done in the Northeast, which have shown 18% and 20% demand reduction on pure solar. And so we wanted to start the conversation about how to codify, quantify, and use this information to make more projects pencil out.
I'm the coordinator for the Sustainability Renewable Energy Program at Seminole State College of Florida. We're essentially a community college in Florida college system in North Orlando. And so my poster is about our multidisciplinary approach to sustainability education in the community college system. Because very often, students don't actually encounter any renewable energy technology concepts or sustainability principles until they get to their 3rd or 4th year even, or sometimes even a graduate program. So since 41% of all undergraduates in the United States are in community colleges, we felt it was important to have some sort of introduction, 1st and 2nd year education. And so a lot of community colleges have taken the route of adding specialization in one of their professional areas. So perhaps they have a construction program, they have a green building specialization, they have an engineering tech program where they have alternative energy. What we've tried to do is try to create a multidisciplinary certificate, something that would appeal both to technical students and non-technical students. And so we have courses in solar technology, we have green building courses, but we also have political science classes, energy and environmental policy. We've got a business course. And so the idea is that this certificate could be embedded within the associate's program. So for associate art students who are going on universities, it could be another item of their resume. But for students in the associate science programs that are not necessarily going on to university,
let's see if we
this could also provide them some additional skills to flesh out their primary degree use. So instead of competing with the primary degree, we're trying to enhance it. So I can talk over here about a lot of the obstacles that we've encountered and some of our solutions and some of the things we're still working on. So thank you.
Thank you for seeing Prism Solar Park team. So we're designing and building a solar park that's changing the paradigm of transportation. And in doing so, we're also inspiring future generations to pursue passions through education. Our project is actually in Australia as we speak, currently racing on the greatest stage, which is the World Solar Challenge. So if you have any questions, please stop by and answer as much as we can. Thank you.
Right. Hi everyone, I'm Jennifer Knopf from the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, and I'm presenting on the Energy Water Food Nexus. For those of you not familiar with it, it looks at the interrelationship between energy, water, and food resources. Drivers like population growth, climate change, urbanization, and just competing demands for resources are all key factors associated with it. And NREL is providing a wide range of solutions ranging from policy and planning, modeling and analysis, energy water system integration, and also technology deployment and demonstration. So come on over, there's a lot of information over there, and I'd be happy to talk to you more about it. Thank you.
Likewise. All right. Because the solar is dropping so fast to produce that presently only 1/5 of the cost of putting solar panels on your roof is the panels. And I think at some point, people are going to say, I don't want to pay the rest. I don't want to pay the utilities and the balance of system. And so what if, when you buy an air conditioner, it comes with a rollout solar panel that you just run direct DC, and then, like at night, if you need it still, you'll plug in. And so that's what this is about bootlegging electricity, about grid defection, and about load defection. And the other is,
Web Architect with Sun Plans. It's a residential architectural firm and I specialize with passive solar. Since the 1980s, I've had the opportunity to work with hundreds of clients throughout the US and Canada. So in the course of doing that, I've been able to explore lots of different design tools to help with passive solar and energy efficiency in general. And my poster showcases some of the ones that I think are the simplest and therefore the easiest to use and therefore the more likely to be used. So that's what I focused on. Every house that has a south-facing window is a passive solar home, has the opportunity to utilize the heat to provide, or the heat of the sun to heat the home. If you take most of the windows that go in any home and place them on the south, you have the opportunity to easily have the sun provide 20 to 90% of the home's heating needs without overheating. And so that my favorite is the window overhang design tool. And of course, homes that have passive solar, then it's much easier to become net zero because you need that.
Okay, what the poster is about in several pages is converting a 1970s house to and then beyond net zero, and conceptualizing the house as a hen in its old age. It needs to stay warm so it gains fat, thickens its walls, and all of its chicks that are out come back and huddle around to provide comfort. And then huddling around is all these added passive solar additions that wrap the house. So that's the main idea.
Great. And you are?
I'm Steve Stevens. I'm out in Golden. I'm a retired Bell Labs guy. Just having fun playing with an old house, a 1970s house.